Can you hear me okay?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, sorry if you hear any noise because the area here is kind of noisy. So if there
Yeah.
is any noise, prevent you from hearing me really well, just tell me.
Right. No worries. Yeah, there's a really busy street outside of my
God.
house, so there's always trucks and cars and motorcycles.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
we are in the same, situation. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So my name is James. It's nice to meet you.
James, yeah. Nice to meet you too. I'm Jafar.
Jafar. How do you say it again?
I don't know. You can, everyone is pronouncing it,
Slightly
differently.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you say it?
In my language, it's completely different. There is some syllables that, foreigners cannot spell,
Okay.
or speak. I don't know how to say
Okay.
it. So in my language, it's Jafar. So for people cannot, make that sound of, you know what I mean?
Like Jafar, like that?
But
Jafar?
yeah, it's missing that sound, like
Okay,
that.
like yeah. Okay.
But it's Jafar, it works.
Okay, Jafar. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So where are you calling from?
I'm from Morocco, so. Yeah.
Morocco. Okay, cool.
Yeah. You know Morocco?
I am familiar with it. I've never been to Morocco, but I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, we're located in North Africa, the west of North Africa.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And you're from United States.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember from the video, but
okay. Yeah.
Rica?
Yeah. Yes, so I'm originally from the United States. I grew up in the state of Kentucky. Yeah, and yes, I am still living in Costa Rica right now.
Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been living there?
Almost 2 years.
2 years. And what is spoken language there?
Spanish.
Spanish? Oh, Spanish.
Yeah.
So, do you know some Spanish?
Yes, I am conversational in Spanish. I'm not fluent. I still make a lot of mistakes. But yeah, I can speak Spanish. That was one of the. that was actually one of the reasons why I moved here, was to increase my Spanish abilities.
Yeah. Marry yourself, like that.
Yeah.
That's really nice, I think.
Yeah.
And how is life there? How do you find it? Based on your
like compared to the US, or like compared to like my previous life. I really enjoy it. The pace of life, or the speed of life here, is a lot slower. Like in the cities and stuff, it's still kind of like a normal city. But in general, the people and the culture, they just have a much slower pace when it comes to life in general. They don't. I feel like in the US, people take for granted a lot of like the little things. Whereas, like, let's just say, for example, like they take for granted just like talking to their neighbors, or even like knowing who their neighbors are. Like, well, for my parents, they still live in Kentucky. They still live in the house where I grew up. And when I was younger, they knew pretty much everybody that lived in the neighborhood. Yeah, but now,
right now, maybe it's different.
Exactly. Yeah, new
people are like, they're close. They are not open.
Yeah, like old families move out, new families move in, and there's still the original families that were there when I was growing up. like my parents still know them and they're still friends and things like that, but there are new neighbors and like my parents,
maybe the new generations,
yeah,
maybe their children,
yeah,
and
exactly.
stuff.
It's like my parents don't know really who they are, and here I'm sure there's probably similar situations, but
yeah, it's everywhere.
yeah,
It's happening everywhere.
yeah, but,
Even with family, you know, because family in the past they were like close, they were like meeting each month or maybe each week. But you know, currently families are like, drifted apart. It's rare for me, to just see, or call, my uncle's sons,
yeah,
or
your cousins,
who are at the same age, my cousins, at the same age as me. So it's rare to call them and just ask about them, or maybe go to meet them. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same with me. I call my parents somewhat frequently, but my brother, like I haven't talked to him really in a few months.
Yeah.
But like we were never really like super close because my brother is actually 19 years older than I am. So when I was born, he was already in college or in university. So we never really like grew up together like that.
Yeah.
So
you didn't have like a good time together.
Yeah, like
to build that.
Yeah, we never really had a lot of
deep
opportunity.
relation together.
Exactly. Because like he was already out of the house. Like when my earliest memories,
he has a lot of friends.
Yeah, and then for a while, he and his wife moved across the country, and then when they finally moved back, I was like already in high school, so I was pretty busy there. And then I moved away for university, and then I stayed there, and now I'm here, and So yeah, it's that same idea.
It's
like
happening.
For my girlfriend, she's from Costa Rica, and her family, they're always talking. Like
together.
They're always
maybe.
Yeah, like her family is pretty separated. Like she has 3 brothers and 1 sister. Her oldest brother lives in Russia. He's been living there since like the 70s, or maybe the 80s. Her next oldest brother lives pretty close. Her youngest older brother lives in a town maybe like 30 minutes away, and then her sister lives in California. And then,
but they still like calling each other and talking.
They're still calling and talking to each other like every day. And then like their parents, like I'm in the house where my girlfriend grew up right now. But her parents, they live in their like retirement house, like 2 hours away. So they're all separated, but they're always talking and communicating. And I know that's the same with a lot of families in the US, but it's also common to be in a situation like mine where like, we'll talk and stuff, but it's not the same.
I see.
So, and just like, I feel like in the US, there are one of the things that I think really amazes me about the people here in Costa Rica is Costa Rica is known for its ecotourism and its biodiversity. Its wildlife, its nature. They have jungles, they have mountains, they have beaches, and even the people who live in the towns very close to, like, let's say the beaches, like I feel like they don't take advantage, or they don't take for granted the fact that they live like in a beach town. They still like
Yeah, they're enjoying
They
it. They are
enjoy
not
it.
looking to go to the
Yeah,
city or something like
yeah,
that. They are
exactly,
like,
exactly.
they're attached to that place, to
Yeah,
that area.
yeah, and
So.
they're always like going to the beach or like having lunch or a picnic or something on the beach. They're together with their family and friends.
Hmm.
Whereas like in the US, like
No, yeah,
the people who live near those places, like it's common to just sort of forget just how amazing a place you
yeah.
are in.
Hmm.
Um,
Maybe if they go, if they travel to a big city,
uh-huh,
they avoid to tell where they are coming from.
uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, so
Hmm.
that's something that I was very impressed with, um, in uh, especially in some of the rural areas, because like
Hmm.
the Costa Rica, they have on the east coast they have the Atlantic Ocean,
Hmm.
and the west they have the Pacific Ocean. Right, I guess
Yeah.
technically the east is more of the Caribbean, but it's still technically the Atlantic. And that's a fairly poor area, the East Coast, the Caribbean side.
Yeah.
And but like
Hmm.
even then, like on a weekend, like the people are just there enjoying the environments and the natural resources that they have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I see.
it's just cool, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like a nice country
Uh-huh.
to live in. What about the cost of living?
Um,
How do you manage? Is it like, cheap? I think it's cheap than the US, but what do
yeah,
you think about it?
compared to the U.S., it is cheaper. Which is why there's a
Yeah.
lot of people from the U.S. who move here to retire. Um,
Yeah, people from the US are
uh,
everywhere, even here in
yeah,
Morocco. Oh my God, you guys are just,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's compared to the U.S., it's cheap, but compared to the other Central American countries, and even
Hmm.
other like South American countries, it's expensive. So
Hmm.
it's on average. So I'm an English teacher here, and I work for a local company
Yeah.
along with Cambly.
Hmm.
And I should
Hmm.
probably update that profile video now because it's been a little bit since I made that video. But uh, but yeah. So the average cost of living, let's say for an expat, somebody who's from another country that's moving to live here, it's probably between about
Yeah.
500 and 700 US dollars a month. Um,
Hmm.
and which for me that's pretty much like breaking even. I don't really get
Yeah.
to save a whole lot of money. I do, but it's all saving for like expenses that I know I'm going to have. Like I'm
Yeah, maybe to buy something or maybe to go somewhere.
right.
So you have a plan.
Yeah. So like
You're not just saving for no reason.
exactly. Like for me,
You don't have like this. Yeah.
I'm not actually here on a work visa. I'm here on a tourist
Hmm.
visa, which that's pretty common for most English teachers down here. So
Hmm.
every 90 days, we have to leave the country, um,
Yeah, go
and come
back.
back to
Hmm.
renew that 90-day visa. So like most of my savings is going to that because I use it as an international trip. Um, so
Yeah.
I use it to explore a new country or a new place. Um, and yeah,
Nice.
so that's a benefit. But it's like, man, if I didn't have to do that, if I didn't have to save, I could feel a lot more comfortable economically.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's either do this and pay and get to travel every 3 months, or pay a lot of money to get a visa.
Yeah.
So
But if you are like planning to just stay there,
mhm.
I don't know, but I think you don't know what are, your
Exactly,
future
exactly,
plans.
and
So.
like um, a lot of schools, like if they're a large enough English school here, they'll help their teachers with that visa process. But the company that I work for, we're a pretty small company, and we're still a pretty new company. I think we've only been around for about three and a half, 4 years now.
Yeah, I see.
And we just don't have the resources to help all of our teachers, or just to give a visa to a teacher, because because of our company, we have a pretty high turnaround. Usually we only have teachers here for about 6 months, and then they move on to do something else. Either they go to another country, they move to a different part of the country of Costa Rica, or they go home. They just wanted to experience something different.
Travel.
So that's why we only have a 6-month contract for our teachers, our new teachers. And I am one of 4, 5 teachers right now who have been here for basically longer than a year.
Longer,
so
maybe you are the oldest there in that company.
We're
you are the oldest teacher. One of the oldest.
We're kind of the veterans of the company. So just like I said, because of that turnaround. But
so do you do trainings there? Do you train people? Teaching them English?
Okay, so the company that I work for in Costa Rica, we're all English teachers. And so we're an English teaching company. We're not really a school, in the traditional sense of a school.
It's like a center to coach.
Kind of.
So local English teachers.
Sort of. So we work primarily with businesses. So we will actually, when we're able to, we will travel to the different companies that have contracts with us, and we will teach English on site to those companies for the employees that they want in those classes. Or we'll sometimes have private students from different companies that want to do classes and things like that. But predominantly, we teach on site to different companies.
Nice. And how is it? How how it works?
Like right now? So right now, all of our classes are virtual classes, just due to the situation with the coronavirus. But I mean, usually, it's usually our classes will be either before work, so usually early, 7 in the morning, 7, 8 in the morning, something like that. Or
maybe after
work. In the evening, maybe anywhere from 4 p.m. 5 p.m., something like that. Usually we don't teach earlier than 7 a.m. or later than 8 p.m. Okay. Do you you've been there for 3 years. Do you like it? Do you like what you do?
Yeah, I like it. Most of the times.
Right.
Not always.
Right. I understand. Yeah. I like what I do most of the time. So sometimes it's I don't feel like.
Of course, you seem to like it now. Now you're sitting at your home and teaching people. So I think you're, enjoying it pretty much than going to a company and teaching people. So
it's. I wish I had a more comfortable chair, but that's. It is what it is.
Save for it, man. You have to save money to have a comfortable chair.
And
but you don't know. Maybe you gotta have to travel. Then you cannot take the chair. So,
and that's the thing. With me is, I just don't. I don't have.
You always think.
I don't have a set plan for what I want, because a lot of students have asked me, "Oh, do you think you're going to stay in Costa Rica? Or are you going to go back to the U.S.? Are you going to go somewhere else?" It's I don't really know. I'm just kind of living at the moment right now. So for example, for the last almost year, not including like the coronavirus period. I've actually I moved into a new apartment, but it's now an old apartment. I moved into a different apartment in July of last year, and I didn't have any money at the time to buy like an actual mattress because the house that I was living in, everything was furnished and it was all provided. So I was using an air mattress, and I had been using an air mattress for the better part of a year now. Even in my new apartment that I'm in, again, not including this house because it's my girlfriend's house and there's a bed and everything like that. But my roommate, or my roommates, sorry, they just bought a new mattress, and they're like, hey, you can have this old one. You can just buy it off us. And I'm like, I don't know what my plan is. Like, do I spend the money and do it and then have to turn around and sell it in a couple months if I decide I want to do something different, or do I just stay on the air mattress, or I don't know. So it's a downside of not having an actual plan.
Sometimes it's hard for you to be decisive.
Yeah, and I mean, it wouldn't be like too bad. Like if I decided that I wanted to go, it's just like, okay, yeah, I'll just sell it again, and like if I want to go do something different, like my roommate, or one of them, we have the same bank. So if I like have to go back to the US for some reason, it's like, hey, sell this, just transfer me the money and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of nice though, not really having a plan. It can be stressful at times, just because you have that sort of anxiety of like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? What do I want out of my life? But then again, it's nice just to kind of live in the moment and just see what happens.
Yeah. I think same, because some people are like always thinking like 1 year ahead or maybe 2 years, and it's completely a lot of stress. They put a lot of stress on themselves. So yeah, maybe think 2 days or maybe a week, but not go too far.
Yeah, and like, so for me, when I first moved to Costa Rica, my original like ultimate goal was to live in another country for at least 2 years. That was kind of the ultimate goal. I wanted to start in Costa Rica, but I never really said, okay, I'm going to live in Costa Rica for 2 years.
Yeah.
I just wanted to live in any Spanish-speaking country for 2 years, whether it was live in Costa Rica for 6 months and then move to another country for 6 months and then another country like that, or...
I think you have a lot of options there, a lot of Spanish, countries that, a lot of countries that speak Spanish, so you have a lot of options.
Yeah, so it's like, I've had a general plan, but nothing very specific. So I don't know. It's been fun though. So, yeah. And you have you ever wanted to like live abroad or move to another country, or are you happy where you are?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm happy. It's kind of foggy, so I don't know what I want yet. I don't know what the future is. It's hiding from me. So
well, if you,
I just need to be prepared.
If you did move to another country to live there for an extended period of time, where would you move to? Where do you think you would move to?
I don't know. I don't want to, as a first experience, I don't want to go too far, I want to be close. Maybe, some country around here. So maybe in Spain, maybe in France, maybe in some other European country. So so the idea is not to go too far.
I understand. Yeah.
as a first experience, but after, if I do like it, maybe,
Yeah, I get that. I understand. That was
yeah.
that was kind of one of the reasons why I picked Costa Rica, because like my top two countries were Costa Rica or Spain, and Costa Rica is a little bit closer. It's only about a 5-hour flight, versus Spain, which I think was like a 9-hour flight. I think something like that. And then kind of like in my top, let's say 4 was probably Japan. But like that's
Japan.
a little.
Oh my god, yeah. I want to go to Japan, but it's too far and it's kind of complicated to get the papers and the access
and it's
to the country. I don't know for you Americans, but for us, I think it's difficult.
I would definitely say it's probably more difficult than Costa Rica is to get the papers. So Costa Rica is pretty easy. You just have to fall into like a certain category. But yeah, it's that one was just a little